What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite for some wild breaking news here for you guys regarding a potential 40's Action Heroes event, Captain America going for V2 rockets, and even some other interesting updates. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And today is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to everybody out there who has served. But Activision did address a very, very wild issue that was going crazy on the internet last night. Everybody was talking about it. So there was an issue regarding a Quran laying on the floor over on Duran Fung, which obviously people were stepping on while they were playing games of zombies. That's considered very disrespectful to the Muslim community, so the following statement was released by Activision. Call of Duty is made for everyone. There was insensitive content to the Muslim community mistakenly included last week and has since been removed from the game. It should never have appeared as it did in game. We deeply apologize. We're taking immediate steps internally to address the situation to prevent such occurrences in the future. So unless that was put there intentionally, then we can safely assume it could have been a reused asset that was overlooked. Luckily it was fixed very quickly, but it's very unclear how this issue occurred in the first place. Maybe there were other Call of Duty titles where a Quran was placed in certain locations, and for some reason in Vanguard it ended up on the floor. Totally unclear. We have no idea what happened, but thankfully that was fixed rather quickly. Before we continue on with some other wild updates, let's go ahead and thank the sponsor of tonight's video. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Mech, an amazing free-to-play shooter game available on mobile. Now, there really aren't many 5v5 action shooters out there, especially ones that are pretty to look at. Mech is also a game that is not based on matchmaking off of your skill. Mech takes mobile multiplayer to the next level, allowing you to customize each shoot to your liking. Here's some examples of my all-time favorites. You can open the vault to see your skins and unlock some new ones, followed by tapping on a mech, then loadout and paint can to equip your available skins or different paint jobs. This particular weapon choice allows me to stay precise at long range while not losing mobility when enemies are up close. This month, Mech is releasing not one but two new maps alongside its first ever battle pass. There will also be a ton of special missions with some insane rewards to win. If that's not enough for you though, we also have a load of upcoming events and new DLC weapons that are also on the way. Taking down bigger mechs definitely requires precise planning and strategic movement. The gameplay really reminds me of the fun mech suits we had during Black Ops 3, especially that multiplayer map Rupture. Now Mech is completely free to play on Android and iOS, and you can use my personal link down below in the description or the QR code on screen to get the Black Carbon skin, 300 coins, and 50,000 credits. Now if you're quick, you can add me to your friends list and we can get some games in together as well. But thank you to Mech for sponsoring tonight's video. Now back to the video, I did finish the final Gunfight tournament in Black Ops Cold War, and yeah, Season 6 doesn't end for another couple of weeks, so I'll be playing Cold War here and there before the end of this final season to the game's life cycle. Now you can call me an official Gunfight multiplayer sweat. I have gone through every single tournament in-game and gotten all the free blueprints. But as I said on Twitter today, thank you to Matt Scrons, Tony Flame, and everybody else, the countless others who put together Black Ops Cold War multiplayer. It's definitely been a year to remember, and I've had an absolute blast covering the game over the past 12 months. The final blueprint is definitely a special one, as you can see here for the LC-10, and the trophy charm that comes with it is definitely incredible, right? You'll get this trophy charm as a part of beating some of the other brackets in this final tournament. And let me know in the comments if you've beaten all the Gunfight tournaments thus far. They're definitely not easy, and you have to definitely practice a bit in multiplayer before going through all of these. It takes a bit of grinding, so let's see if they bring Gunfight back in Vanguard, if they end up doing Champion Hill tournaments instead. I'm very curious what the future is of this type of new multiplayer mode. But with that being said, we then have a very spicy report from, like I said yesterday, some curious individuals who have access to the game's files, and this is something that I definitely did not expect at all, but was heavily theorized many months ago, and that is regarding World War II era characters like Captain America and Indiana Jones becoming playable operators in Call of Duty Vanguard. So references were found to a Captain America calling card and what is being called an Adventure Man calling card in Vanguard's files. Now, it can't be a coincidence that the Adventure Man calling card is specifically framed just how a poster looks for Indiana Jones. That can't be a coincidence, and sure, it's just possible that they end up releasing calling cards that reference those World War II era films or those World War II themed films. Sure, that's possible, but the actual name of these calling cards, according to curious individuals, is AH. That could represent either American heroes or action heroes. We had 80s action heroes already in Season 3 of Black Ops Cold War, and we kind of had a 90s 90s action heroes event with Judge Dredd that also got added, so I'm curious if this is going to be called a 40s action heroes event or just American heroes. I mean, this is definitely spicy, but insider Tom Henderson does claim that Disney was in negotiations with Activision for quite some time about this deal, and now the deal is finally coming to fruition, so it's unclear if this is in fact a legitimate crossover, when this is going to release, if not at all. And yeah, there is some familiarity in these calling cards with those iconic characters, but maybe there is a slim chance, right? It's just a reference to those films, but won't mean much after all. But I would say if the crossover is real, they might end up modifying these calling cards, which I can't show you on screen for obvious reasons. Maybe check the description down below. Maybe they'll end up modifying the calling cards later to better fit the characters of Captain America and Indiana Jones. We have seen calling cards in the past that were found premature. They ended up getting modified many months later to better fit whenever they released. So that could happen when it comes to these bundles. You never know. I remember there was a calling card during Black Ops Cold War's launch, so I can't show you once again, but it did showcase a Panzer, a Mangler, and this was just for D Machine, so we're like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. When the calling card finally officially released, slowly after launch, the calling card was modified to remove the Panzer and Mangler, since I guess that was a spoiler for future Zombies maps. So same thing could happen here, where they can add to it, take things away from it, or at some point modify it to better fit whenever the release date is for these calling cards. But something weird that I wanted to point out real quickly about specific insiders in the gaming industry is someone like Tom Henderson, right, has been claiming information for many years regarding Call of Duty, GTA, Battlefield, a lot of other franchises, and he actually got hired by IGN recently. And when the issue with the Quran happened last night, or when it was found I should say, he had a contact at Activision to let them know what was going on. He had the message forwarded to them to then address the issue. And nothing against gaming scoopers or anybody out there, but isn't it strange how leakers and gaming scoopers seem to have these connections and seem to know these things, claim these things, and get hired at, you know, corporate media like IGN, but then for a content creator like myself or someone else to cover these rumors and quote-unquote leaks, it's a big no-no. So it's like, it's so weird how gaming information is passed around. It's so weird how leaks are looked at by the corporate press, by content creators, by publishers. I mean, it's a giant mess all the way around, but luckily bigger articles out there have been published. Content creators are talking about this information, so I should be safe to talk about it here in this video. I don't even like the word leak. I don't like covering leaks altogether, just because I think people out there have a hard time looking at when a content creator covers something versus when they're claiming something. And again, I'm not a scooper, a data miner, a leaker by any means. I just talk about the news. I like covering the game that I enjoy to play, and that's about it. So hopefully nobody gets that confused. But yeah, you guys know my stance on that already. We talked about that plenty over in recent podcasts. But with this potential 40s Action Heroes event, this is likely Activision's way of keeping up with the Fortnite level crossovers, right? With how Fortnite seems to have crossover after crossover after crossover. It's gotten a little ambitious at this point, overwhelming I should say, to the point where the Fortnite community even gets tired of it sometimes. I've definitely seen comments about that. So could this mean we're going to end up getting new crossovers each and every season of Call of Duty Vanguard in comparison to Cold War, which only had a select few and they weren't really consistent, they were just a little random, you know, every other season or whatnot. Don't forget about the rumored crossover with Attack on Titan coming to Vanguard at some point, as well as Krampus, who I mispronounced as Crumpus in a recent video, I apologize for that. So we do have a couple of crossovers already known for this game, so this Captain America or Indiana Jones crossover really wouldn't surprise me, since they do fit the aesthetic and storyline of this game anyway. Now, I do find it a bit funny that Disney was okay seeing their iconic characters being shredded to pieces with some of the graphic death animations that are in Call of Duty. I guess the bag was worth it, so I have to wait and see how that pans out. But think about it, right? You're gonna have Captain America potentially camping in corners, going for V2 rockets in multiplayer, and then going into zombies, and essentially bringing a what-if episode to life with Captain America facing off against the undead. It's gonna be insane, right? It's easily going to be one of the most sold bundles that I think Call of Duty has ever done thus far, and Activision probably knows that, considering all the hype regarding the MCU. Now, some other patch notes were released today for the new update in Vanguard. So first off, with multiplayer, they fixed a spawn trap in the cave on Numa Numa while playing Domination, TDM, or Kill Confirmed, increased the point-blank range for sniper challenges, fixed spawning close to enemies on Desert Siege, fixed players spawning into a buy round with fist and no secondary weapons, I believe that's for Champion Hill, fixed reticle challenges that were not tracking past the first challenge, incendiary rounds no longer trigger a fire, death, or burn damage voiceover on corpses, which got incredibly annoying and loud, We have fixed the Secrets of the Pacific Get 3 Wins challenge, tracking losses as wins during free-for-all. Fixed a messaging error in Champion Hill while purchasing the bar when the weapon was not purchased. Fixed the broken clan XP bar display after level 1. Fixed the rare bug that caused your FOV to lock. Free-for-all losses recording as wins for operator challenges, that was fixed. Fixed the rare crash on the MVP voting screen, and the rest of those issues there we did talk about in yesterday's video when some of these other patch notes were released. Also for campaign, they reiterated that mid-level checkpoint save data has been invalidated for some, and it has a note there at the bottom, which I already put on screen yesterday. And in regards to zombies, some other new issues were fixed. Addressed an issue that allowed players to get outside of the map, an issue that players who died in a down state were not transitioning properly to spectator mode, and fixed the bug that gave players the default pistol when down instead of a pack-a-punch version if they owned one. And I also read off the rest of those zombie fixes in the video I posted yesterday, since some of these patch notes were already released, but today we got the entirety of the list. So with that being said, I wanted to go into something that I think you guys probably forgot about by now, and that is Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. So somebody out there on Twitter, which again, this blows my mind when people on Twitter just randomly pop up every now and again with spicy ass information. Somebody by the name of Ralph has been posting very specific details about upcoming Call of Duty titles, which seems to be checking out with what other gaming scoopers are claiming. And keep in mind, right, we gotta take this all with a grain of salt. These are just rumors, but we're covering them because sometimes in the news we have some spicy rumors to talk about. That's how Call of Duty works. But this person known as Ralph is claiming that Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer is officially canceled by Activision. And if that wasn't obvious by now, you know, I think there was plenty of goddamn evidence that at one point there was a plan to remaster the entire Modern Warfare trilogy as a part of an exclusive contract between Sony and Activision, and each of the 3 titles would at least feature campaign, but multiplayer was always up in the air. The first Modern Warfare remaster in 2016 was bundled alongside Infinite Warfare because Infinite Warfare wasn't performing that great. It was a really solid pre-order bonus, and even still, despite Infinite Warfare getting post-launch updates as well as Black Ops 3 during its year 2 phase, we still got DLC added to Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, DLC weapons, maps, bunch of other cool updates. I mean, it was an incredible remaster. I really enjoyed playing that. I wouldn't mind going back to it today. But when Modern Warfare 2 Remastered campaign released, we're like, hold on a second, why is one of the most iconic multiplayers of all time not included with that campaign? It just didn't make any sense, but theories at the time suggested that, you know what, Modern Warfare 2019 was doing so hot at the time, Warzone just came out, they didn't want to split the player base with a remastered MW2 multiplayer. And even then, right, as I talked about in previous videos, even if they did remaster the multiplayer, would it be the same as it was before? Because it wasn't really that balanced. It was quite controversial at the time, and if they changed things about it, it would still create controversy. People would say that it's not faithful to the original, so it's kind of a losing battle for them to remaster it in the first place. That's the way I look at it. But looking at the recent confirmation that apparently MW3 Remastered does not exist, despite the museum in the Modern Warfare 2 campaign remaster claiming that there was a remastered collection on the way, despite that, and despite gaming scoopers claiming that an entire trilogy was getting remastered, Activision still came out and said that. So I'm wondering if the recent allegations made against Blizzard and the entirety of the lawsuit, I'm wondering if that impacted Sony's contract with Activision, leading to them scrapping other deals like MW2 multiplayer or Modern Warfare 3 campaign, maybe even the exclusive mode for Vanguard, which obviously doesn't exist now. I'm wondering if that contract was changed significantly because of the lawsuit. Maybe that's what happened. But don't forget, there were plenty of rumors at some point a year and a half ago that a lot of maps from the original Modern Warfare 2 were going to be remastered and added to Modern Warfare 2019. We only ended up seeing Rust, and I believe that was it. Nothing really else from the second Modern Warfare. So we can safely assume a lot of those maps that may have been remastered already are being saved for the Modern Warfare sequel coming at some point in 2022. Now, this person has claimed some other very spicy information about the next Modern Warfare and many other CODs as well, which I've covered in depth on my Facebook gaming page, which is linked down below in the description. That'll be the place where I cover some other news and some other fun topics that I usually wouldn't cover here on YouTube. But with that announcement from this very suspicious individual known as Ralph, and with the fact the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered mod for Black Ops 3 was canceled, that just puts the nail in the coffin for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. It just isn't going to happen, and I'm sure they wouldn't want to market 2 different Modern Warfare 2s at the very same time in the next year or so. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on a potential 40's Action Heroes event featuring Captain America and Indiana Jones? What are your thoughts on Activision's new statements? And also how you're feeling about the canceled Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.